One Piece chapter 1125 titled What Constitutes Death? And hopefully this doesn't go back to Vegapunk's deaths and last chapter of what Shaka has told Vegapunk. Oh, what constitutes death for us? Oh, that's a good question, but we don't know. Don't have an answer for that. But we're about to see in this chapter. So let's actually get into it. We shall, because it goes over to the aftermath of what's been going on. So all the Marines are pretty much probably or up or still down. So it cuts back to a not broadcast, but intercom. Load the Seraphim as soon as they're charged. As for the weaponized sea beasts and Mark III pacifistas, but they also stopped Rob Lucci. Said, "Oh, Rob Lucci, Kaku. What about Stussy?" Remember, only Rob Lucci and Kaku know what happened to Stussy, of all people. So, what happened to her? Well, she died or killed in action. KIA, more like an abbreviation. But we don't know that. We don't know for sure if she was killed in action until we see a body or anything else. We don't know if that's actually true or not. Just going by what, or looks like Kaku sitting in the back. Kaku sitting, walking behind Lucci in a, disappointed and look, and Rob Lucci is just saying to the Cypherpole agents that, hey, we made it out alive except for Stussy, which she is KIA, killed in action, and now we gotta go. So there's nothing else to tell you about where her body is. We don't know. Only Oda knows, as we are. Now we've cut back to Saint Saturn's side. Keep in mind, with all of what just transpired on Egghead and what just transpired, which was a failed attempt to not only to eliminate Vegapunk, which you did successfully, but at a cost of turning on the Dead Mist, which that technically broadcasted Vegapunk, which that was a trigger for his death, which for the broadcast to come on and play. See what I mean? There was a whole bunch of shit that Vegapunk prepared, pre-planned. He had this shit done, prep time. But, oh man. So it cuts back to what Saint Saturn is informing his vice admirals, which I know Saint Saturn not only failed to stop the broadcast, get rid of, the Straw Hats, mostly Luffy, which is the main threat here. And, you just let Emmeth touch. Not only did you let Emmeth use, not destroy him very quickly enough, but Joy Boy's hockey was so damn massive that it hit all the way to where Marijois is and smacked him in the face. So, I believe, is pissed at this point. Her blood is boiling. Anyways, Saint Saturn says, with York, Punk Records, and the power station in hand, we have secured access to the Eternal Mother Flame. Take note, that result will have been more than adequate, or what it seems, but we had one critical hiccup. He has gathered all of the vice admirals onto his ship. Top ranking, mind you, that was in his ploy. He's talking to all the vice admirals on his ship. And now he's basically telling them off of what transpired, what happened, the situation, and where you fucked up at. So there you go. He's basically telling them all, say, you fucked up, you did something wrong, and not only did you let the Straw Hats get away, you also let some of this shit happen. Even though I have you, Saint Saturn is basically sick of this shit. But who else is sick of this shit? Well, later on, see, they all apologizing to Saint Saturn because they let this shit happen while they're on their watch. And one of them, Vice Admiral, says, please give us leave to pursue them to Elbath. And you know what he said to say to Elbath? No, forget Elbath. The failure to which I referred is far more dire. Allowing Vegapunk's message to play was an unexpected disaster. Not to mention that Iron Giant surfacing to aid in the pirates' escape is ironic, really. And Saint Saturn remembers 200 years ago, roughly 200 years ago, and some of the scientists, it looks like the scientists or vice admirals, are now complaining or suggesting that Saint Saturn not to scrap this because it could be really good to study, but they don't know that this are backfire on them in the present. But it shows them convincing Saint Saturn to let them research this robot again, or not again, but keep researching this robot, Emeth. So this is the future. I am certain it will ultimately prove to be a great asset to our military might. So they're trying to keep Emeth around for military purposes, weapons, right? Now they said, scientist says, thank you for opportunity. It would have been a shame to junk such an exciting specimen. And then Saint Saturn had a little flashback. It remained dormant for 200 years. 200 years. And yet it clearly moved to protect the Straw Hat Luffy. Saint Saturn had a brief flashback and then flashback in the present was like, well shit, and then we let it happen. It got you know, Saint Saturn is pissed right now. So moving on to what the other admiral says, Saint Saturn, as a humble and loyal soldier of the government, I have one question weighing on my mind. Imagine if you were a random vice admiral facing towards Saint Saturn. You had the nerve to start spewing bullshit in front of Saint Saturn's face, throwing it at his face, the obvious. He's probably or more lenient. Well, anyways, you said allowing Vegapunk's message to get out was a failure. Does that imply there was some truth behind his remarks? And as soon as Saint Saturn heard that, he said, I think it was some kind of hockey, more like, that Saint Saturn used. Similar to when he appeared in that devil circle, or transform, it's that demon circle, basically. Similar to that. And the way that happens, if he says vice admirals are only on the island, and if he says vice admirals are only allowed to be on this island, and himself, Saint Saturn himself, that means other Marines below vice admiral should get the hell out of here. And what did one random Marine do? Look upon Saint Saturn's majestic form, or demonic form, and what did he get? A head blown off. Similar to what's happening to this vice admiral, but he only got hit with a shockwave, powerful enough to knock someone as powerful as a vice admiral is out. So it's knocks out. And he says, Vice Admiral Doberman, he knocked him out, all right. Now, inside the lab, we need a medic slap one on them. Wait, Vice Admiral. Anyways, back in the inside the lab, you have York, and left by her own devices. Now she's trying to. The sky clouds are rising for some reason. Something's going on in the lab. Now it's the cloud flat factory is going haywire. Now we don't know who this is, or York doesn't know who's doing this, but we know. Now this is my whole theory of them coming of last chapter, of how Vegapunk was explaining what awaits death, what constitutes death. But here you just see a mysterious figure trying to take up the punk records and rise them up or get them away from York from accessing or using the power of the Vegapunks, basically. And now York said, realized, like, shit, well, damn, he's taking punk records. Now, hold on, cuts back to the holy land of Marijuana. Remember the shit that's this shit still, the celestial dragons are still recovering, but now that damn with Vegapunk can't be telling the truth. So even the celestial dragons know that what Vegapunk said on worldwide on the broadcast was true. What Vegapunk said was true. And celestial dragons know they can't lie their ass off any further. Because now everybody knows that the celestial dragons are the problem here. The main problem. So, which the revolutionaries are going to have their time. But they need to deal with the celestial dragons. Let's be honest here. Every One Piece fan should know that celestial dragons are mostly the problem here. But it's mostly the government too. So, what are they waiting for? Though, I'm going to wait until at the end of the chapter to voice what else I got to say too, because there's a lot of stuff that I want to go over. Anyways, comes back to the Marie's Wall. So now the Celestial Dragons are up in uproar because of what Vegapunk said on the broadcast. Mind you, that what Vegapunk said was the truth and nothing but the truth. So, good thing he said everything. And he just got St. Charles, too, that's giving them, having a hissy fit, saying that this is not culinary, this is not food fit for a being like us. And he just takes the guns out, take his pistol out, and shoots the chef. So, unfortunately, that chef was a 5-star chef on his sleeves. It had, or a 6-star, 5-star probably. But anyway, he was a culinary chef, and you shot your chef. So, and mind you that what happened, why every celestial dragon in Marie's was so much of up in the uproar was only because that the Revolution Army invaded Marie's Wall itself. And luckily, the Gosnocks didn't interfere, because that would be a whole another ball game. Another war to get everybody the hell out immediately before anybody else dies and become a slave. But they were basically in and out, except for Sabo. Sabo walked into some shit that he shouldn't be walking into. On a side note, on the One Piece anime, we are at that point where Sabo is about to walk into some shit. Unfortunately. But aside from that, you just have all the Celestial Dragons up and roar, wanting to know what's been going on. Where's the food? Where's the gourmet food? Where's this high class food, 5-star hotel kind of food, restaurant food? But they're fighting over that. While they're fighting over that, we cut back to the Room of Authority, where 4 out of 5 Gorosei are now sitting on the chair. One empty chair is Saint Saturn. But, however, regarding a certain incident that was led by Saint Saturn under his watch and failed to do so, a team has taken let's just say, his own initiative upon himself to say, you know what? Not only did you let a message, that you let some old man broadcast and research, not only research, but you have gotten every single thing that you have gotten one single thing, or you let this guy, this scientist, say everything about the world from 1,000 years, 900 years ago in the void century. What happened to void century and what transpired and what's happening. You let all our secrets, 90% of our secrets, out to the world. Mostly the One Piece. Saying the One Piece is real really set it off right there. And not only the One Piece, you let Emmett, the robot serving Joy Boy, release his hockey. And all the way towards where I'm in the building, staying in my comfortable home, you let that shit hit me in the face. So, I had taken upon myself to not only to appoint a Gorosei, a new elder, but you are no longer in this circle no more, unfortunately. So, speaking of which, who is this mysterious elder? Well, it was all beyond Shanks' father. Garling, what do you think you're doing here? Saint Garland just says, I have new orders have been bestowed upon me. New orders? From whom? What are you saying, Garling? Tread lightly, you forget yourself. Now, Saint Garland just lays it out all there. Only one person, and I mean one person, gives orders to God Knights. One order to Saint Garling and the God Knights. Who? We all know who. We all know who gives out those direct orders besides the elders. Besides the 5 elders, they do not have the authority to order God's Knights, as I know. I mean, if they do have the orders to send out the God's Knights, Saint Garling would have been have those revolutionaries out to in corpses right now by now. But it seems like Emmett, or not Emmett, but Eam has the direct authority to send out the God's Knights and serve Saint Garling. And speaking of only reason or issue the order, the Vegapunk known as York shall henceforth be under my purview, as I was just named a new defense science warrior god. And oh man, one elder said, don't tell me the world is heading for turmoil. An unprecedented level of rebellion is imminent. Let us work together to better the world, my fellow elders. And you just get as soon as Saint Garling sits down, he crosses his leg, put the leg one all over the knee, and this pops up, the title. 5 Elder Planets, Saint Figarland Garling, Defense Science Warrior God. The new Defense Science Warrior God. Whew. Let me tell you something. When I first read this chapter, I was like, oh, let me tell you something, how much of a fuck up you gotta be to actually get booted out like this. But what happens to, now here's the question though, what happens to one of the elders if one elder is killed or failed his mission? What does this say about Saint Saturn? Egghead, the island of the future. It comes back to Egghead. Now, Saint Saturn, sir, what is happening to him? And you just see Saint Saturn it looks like he's choking himself. That's not good. Why is his Saint Saturn choking? What's going on? And he's trying to breathe, or something's choking him, basically. Where are those medics? Hurry, and we need him. Saint Saturn, what is going on? Everybody's up in the panic because Saint Saturn is clearly in pain. And not only in pain, but black smoke or fire looks like it's erupting from beneath him and on his body. Now, is it some sort of disease, as one Marine says? Saint Saturn tells us, what should we do? Hold! It's not a disease. It's not because of what happened last battle. We all know no normal attacks can harm something like Elder. We all know that. Then they can self-heal, obviously. So what's real going on? Well, you just see Saint Saturn's body melt, flesh melting off his skins and bone. His skin is melting off his bones. Not good. He's melting away. Now Saint Saturn has a little monologue. He says, "No, it can't be." And his eyes are gone. His teeth are gone. Every vice admiral is in shock. And Saint Saturn says, "Im Sama." Now, Im has some choice words for Saint Saturn before he goes and exit the main stage. Saint Saturn says that, or Im Sama says this: "Saturn, Joy Boy was behind that escape, and you allowed it to happen." Saint Saturn says, "Have mercy. How could I anticipate that power foiling us?" And whoo, Im wasn't having this. After that Conqueror's Hockey hitting Im, I would be furious too and pissed, because imagine your long-term enemy being dead for however many damn years since the Void Century up until now in the present of the storyline, comes back to life, and you're already all the way to the castle, and all of a sudden a feeling of Conqueror's Hockey just hits your ass either in the face or the back of the head. And knowing that, boy, I would be pissed too. It's like, come back from the dead and now you're okay. And now you're alive. Not physically, but you're alive, but you're not dead at the same time. Your spirit remains, unfortunately. And then that's all you hear from Saint Saturn. And this giant explosion, it looks like black smoke just appears and bursts out of Saint Saturn's ship. And the only thing you see in the aftermath is a skeleton of an elder, former science of defense god. I think I got that right. Let me just check. Defense science warrior god. Former. And I heavily emphasis on former, since his ass was replaced by a more badass person that's stronger than he is. So, unfortunately. So, you got what's left is Saint Saturn's is, unfortunately, a skeleton. A skeleton is left. Now, this is the very definition of making a deal with the devil. What does it end you with? That's non-satisfactory. Now we do cut back to the labo stratum, and we just see one of the island clouds taking one of the punk wreckers up into space, which, newsflash, FYI, it was a mysterious person. But it was all the satellites that been dead, or all 4 satellites that's been dead. But we don't know what about Vegapunk. We don't know that for sure. So it's it. And then one of them said, Shaka says, "Looks like we weren't able to move the lava stratum too." That Trader York got in the way, and that was Atlas. So the original Edison, not gonna say his name, but I'm definitely gonna have him on the screen. Boom. And you got Shaka and then Atlas. So you have all 4 of them still alive. And this does bring back to what Shaka said to Vegapunk right before they memory wipe him, or had that memory wipe. What constitutes death for us? And they didn't know what death really was until they're still alive. There you go. Anyway, the signal reaches across the globe, so she'll still be able to connect. But that's better than handing her the whole thing on the silver platter, ain't it? And onto the screen, on one panel, you have all the combined parts of the satellites. There you go. Except for one, which is York. So there you go. Now, they have a bunch of parts they can spare too, minus York's, so they're gonna dump York's out, York's parts out, whereas that's completely fine. That's fine. However, what they are going to do is send this punk records up to space, so no one can ever get to it or access to it. I had to plan I think they're gonna bring York, but York is not gonna have fully access to the punk records. So I think the rest of the satellites or the Vegapunks are going to plan something to not let York take fully advantage of the punk records. So she can only be access to certain amount of punk records, but not fully. Anyways, so they're going to wait until humanity or history or the people, probably humanity, to get to a sufficient level of, oh, now we can bring this back down. Now that humanity is ground level and more efficient mind and not being dumb with this, because apparently that's not happening. That's what happened when you eat a devil fruit. I gave you future designs and shit. But it cuts back to Kawabaka Queendom Island, and you just had the revolutionaries discussing the recent broadcast and them saying, so Koala is just piecing everything together. It's like, so not only did they cover up the voice century of a massive war, they also have ancient weapons that are scattered. Now they have 2 or 1 ancient weapon at the disposal, and the world is plunging 200 meters deep into the ocean. They're fucked. That's the conclusion that Koala came up with. So only choice that everybody came to conclusion in the revolutionary army is that the only thing that we can do is what Vegapunk said, which is claiming the One Piece, which everybody agrees we need to get to the One Piece first before anybody and be crowned the Pirate King, so we can have control of what's going on. If we got the One Piece, we control everything, get rid of Celestial Dragon, control weapons. We got that. So they'll be in our power, the revolutionary power, army of power. So the world will sink, as one of them said. This explains, Saba says, that the first Celestial Dragons chose to live on the red line. It's the highest point of the planet. So actually that kind of makes sense. I'll leave this for, I'm going to split this in 2 videos because that's kind of interesting if you think about it. So there's also the Tequila Wolf, Vodka Vol and Rum Vol and Bourbon Vol. So mostly Anovkov is talking about the bridges that were built that Robin got sent to, that got flying by Kuma pre-time skip, mind you, that Robin got fling to, and now she's on that bridge. Not now, but pre-time skip. But there was a bridge that was long as hell that the slaves of the Celestial Dragons were making and building. So there you go. That's the reason. That's why the bridge was built. That's why the Celestial Dragons took control of the Red Line, and why the White Kings, brethren, and race was kicked off the Red Island. So if you want to know why, that's the reason why the Celestial Dragons and Marishwa was on top of the red line, and why the bridge is right there. So did they know? No, I don't think they knew. No. Why would they? How knows if the Celestial Dragons know? Because all of them are stuck up pieces of shit, and everybody knows it. So, anyways, all the pieces are falling into place. Now, many will act out of self-interest, not peace. So this is what Dragon concludes to. It's a Vegapunk. By you revealing the One Piece, not everyone. Many will act out of self-interest, not peace. Final words what Dragon says. We must hurry and achieve victory for our cause before the people of the world kill each other to secure habitable land. Meaning, they have to hurry before anybody else notice that the rising tide, that the ocean is rising and its islands are sinking. So, yeah, do that before anybody else captures on. An era of chaos dawns. So, we're about to enter the Elbath arc, I think next week, but we'll see. Anyways, chapter end. Now for my final thoughts and opinion. Now, do I consider, here's a question, What happened to what pissed off Saint Sama? Well, I discussed, or what I just said. Eam was already pissed by the broadcast, right? We all agree that Eam is a very tight-lipped, not conversation kind of person. So we don't know what he's thinking. However, take note that of this chapter and Cobra's chapter, this chapter and Cobra's chapter 2. Take note of what conversation he will be willing to have. Now, what pissed off Eam? Well, we all know what happened. Vegapunk is what happened. The broadcast happened. You let him say too much was one thing. So I think Eam would have cut off an arm or hit you with a slap on the wrist. Oh, you killed Vegapunk, you killed the Straw Hats, but don't do this shit again. So the other thing is, well, that was one fuck up. Well, it was a bunch of fuck ups you did in Vegapunk, which was good, but you let not only Emmett alive, but you let a companion of Joy Boy. I don't know if Eam actually knows that Emmett is Joy Boy's companion, but he did say you let Joy Boy come back to life, so that constitutes a death, and you didn't think that he would find out either. So no, that hockey though. Now, hockey, like I said, that shit traveled all the way to Marishawa and his head Eam just like that. It was done. Eam was done. He said, all right, give me Figarland and get him over here. Saint Garling. Anyways, shit. Well, like I said, I'm going to make this a separate video. Well, but if you like this chapter, this video, subscribe and like and comment down below if you think Saint Garling is a badass by taking over Saint Saturn's position. Because we all know how strong Saint Garling is. Holy shit. He's Shanks' father, as I believe. See you again and see you next adventure. Laters.